Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Can you believe that we are in September? The year is almost over and I feel like my reading has slowly started to slow down. I thought that I would try to revamp my desire in reading by actually doing a fall TBR. Fall is my absolute favorite season. I naturally feel a little bit more motivated, a bit more invigorated during the fall season, so I decided that I would tackle a TBR. I actually decided to rope in my husband to help me with this fall TBR. Actually, for the fall season, we are going to be reading books together. We're going to be reading one book a month for September, October, November, simply because I am a mood reader. I don't want to have an overly ambitious TBR, and also because I am reading with my husband. He's not a bookworm by any means, so I'm trying to just slowly convert him into this wonderful life of being a bookworm. Let's welcome my husband back on the channel. I guess first off, how are you feeling about this TBR? It's only one book a month, but how are you feeling?
It's only one book a month?
Yeah, just because I know that you're not a bookworm naturally, and you also tend to read kind of slower than I do. I just didn't want to overwhelm us with this fall TBR.
Right.
So...
Okay. I thought it was going to be less time to read, so a month. I could read a book a month.
I have high hopes for you, lovey. I think you can do
Thanks.
it. As part of this little TBR video, I thought that I would let him feel included. I didn't want to just set out a TBR for him. Again, it's only 3 books, but I thought I would let him have some input into what we are reading. For the months of September and October, I have a couple of options. I have 3 books for each of the months. For September, I feel like September is always like the back to school month. You know, usually by September, kids are fully into their first few days, first few weeks of school. So I thought September is just an appropriate time to do a dark academia read. He also wanted something a bit of a thriller he asked for. First up is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I absolutely love this book. I haven't read a whole lot of dark academia, to be fair, but to me, Ninth House is the epitome of dark academia. We are set at Yale. We have our main character who sees ghosts. We have the secret societies of Yale, which, actually, having discussed this list beforehand with my husband, he wasn't aware of that. So I think it's just going to make it that much more interesting, is that getting to just see the fictional aspect of what Leigh Bardugo thinks these societies could be doing, I just think would be very interesting. We have students being murdered. We think it's maybe one of the societies, but we don't know for sure what is the end goal. So this one just gives me all of the dark academia vibes. The next book is one that I have not read, and that is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. This is not as dark academia. It does involve a murder, so I kind of put that in there for you. I don't know a whole lot about the book. Sorry. I believe it is about a murder that took place 10 years prior while they were at school. Fast forward 10 years, we realize that maybe the person who was convicted of the murder was actually not the murderer. The kids who had been friends at that time kind of start to figure out exactly what happened to their classmate and who is the actual murderer. So that is another option. That would be something that we both haven't read. We both go into it kind of blind. The next one is just perfect because it is a dark academia anthology, and that is In These Hollowed Halls. It is different authors with their own take on dark academia, and I think this would just be perfect. One, because it isn't a long novel that you are going to have to be following along with. They're just short little stories, but you're still getting the vibes, you're still getting the reading in. The only issue with this is that it is actually not going to be released until September 12th. So not only would we have a shorter amount of time to read it, but also accessibility. It might not be as easily available on the Libby app. Just logistically, reading this book might be more difficult, but this is also one that I would love to read. You would just get so much in one little book. For September, out of these 3 options, what do you think would be more appealing to you? What are you wanting to read?
I think I want to read Ninth House.
I'm very excited to read it with him. I think I'm probably going to get you the audiobook just because I think that will help keeping you entertained and into it. For October, obviously, Halloween, spooky season, I have to give you something creepy, you know, full body chills type.
Yep.
My first option is one that I have previously read, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I just thought this book was so creepy, and I've actually talked to him about it before. That would be the one thing about this book, is that he kind of knows the very big twist, so that kind of ruins the creepy vibes for you.
My memory's pretty bad, so...
But I know you know. He knows. I just think this one would be perfect, also just because, you know, it takes place in Mexico and both of us have Mexican heritage, and I just think it's just a good homage. The second one is also one that I have read, but I actually read it as in e-arc, so I actually never read the final published copy, and that is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. It is about 3 sisters who, in their childhood, they disappeared and came back seemingly out of nowhere. They have no idea where they were during this missing period of time. Fast forward, they're adults, and one of the sisters goes missing again. So the other 2 are freaking out, trying to retrace the missing sister's steps to try and figure out where she is. Is this connected to what happened to them as children? It sucks is that I've already kind of talked to him about it, and I told him the really big twist of this book as well, just because I get excited about stuff, guys, and I don't really have anyone to talk to about it, and my husband is a great listener. So that's just another one that has really creepy vibes. The twist is really uncomfy, like, wow. Third option is one that neither of us has read and that I am actually really excited to read. Even if we don't read it together, I think I'm going to make it a priority to read in October, and that is The Deep by Nick Cutter. Now, I have heard this author's books are really creepy town USA. Like, they're intense. This one particularly takes place under the water, which I have a really big phobia of open water, so my husband doesn't think that I can actually get through it. I don't really know the specifics of the story itself. I just know that there is an underwater base that suddenly loses contact, so they send out an expedition down into the depths. Is it in the Mariana Trench?
I thought it was like a lake.
Is it a lake?
I don't know.
I just know that it takes place like deep underwater, so they send an expedition, and apparently, you know, creepy things are happening as they do underwater.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would go underwater. What do you feel like reading, Lovey?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn between Mexican Gothic and The Deep. I really want to read Mexican Gothic almost as bad as I want to read The Deep. I think I'm going to go with Mexican Gothic.
Really?
Yeah, and then, I mean, if we can get them all done, maybe we can finish with The Deep. That sounds like a good book to read, but I do want to read Mexican Gothic.
Our main October read is going to be Mexican Gothic, but we might try and be ambitious and also tackle The Deep by Nick Cutter. And for the month of November, I have no options. This is one that I had to cash in on my wifey role. Happy wife, happy life. And we're going to be reading You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogo because I have been dying to read this with him. I want him to read it just because I think it's so just us. Like, as a couple, I love it. It makes me feel things, and I want it to make you feel things. So for November, we are going to be reading You Deserve Each Other.
I'm excited.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I've showed him little snippets of the audiobook. I definitely recommend you do the audiobook, 100%. I think one book a month we can do. We read a really thick book in like a weekend when we went to Marengo, Indiana. I have a vlog about that. It wasn't a reading vlog, but we did read The Chestnut Man, and he was actually really into it. We also had nothing else to do, but he was into it and he did it. That is our fall TBR. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Do you think we're going to achieve all of these books? What's on your fall TBR? What are some of the vibes that you are going for in the fall season? That's it to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to my husband, not only for participating in this video, but also for reading with me, because I know it is not something that you enjoy. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. My name is Elle, this is my husband, and I guess we're reading for the next 3 months.